Now, track is maybe I can't do math, but you all can do the math for me because when I check it, that is 1 hour and 15 minutes. Hey, trackies, welcome back to another video here on TXT Track Time. Please remember to like the video and also subscribe to the channel. Now, trackies, I have an interesting video for you here today. Now, it's about a woman and being, potentially sabotaged. And it's not the way you think. However, I do believe, they have been sabotaged, when I look at the women's, semifinals and of course finals. And I'll tell you why, as we get closer to the end of the video. So all of y'all should know by now, that Shericka Jackson, Shakira Richardson and, Marie-José Talou face off in, semifinal 2 for the women's 100-meter semifinal. Now that is a big clash, and a lot of us were not expecting, such a big clash to come, in the semifinals. For me personally, I was expecting at least 2 of the big women, to meet up potentially in the semifinals, but clearly I was not expecting, 3 to make it into the same semifinal. Now I did, talk about it, before, and I said, listen, at the end of the day, these girls are going to have to run because potentially placing third, in this heat or in the semifinal is not good, for the athlete that places third. Why? And I did see proof of it yesterday when I looked at the men's, semifinals leading into the finals. Placing third will not give you a good lane. It will literally put you on the outside. Now let's go back to again yesterday with the men's semifinal into the final. We had our very own Raheem Ford running a huge personal best 9.95 to make it into the finals, but that only got him lane 2, way on the outside, away from the middle of the action, right? So again, when I spoke in my video about, placing third in this race is not a good thing, I mean it. Literally, anybody who places third in this race is going to be on the outside. Now, you may say, well, guess what? They still make it to the final. It's still a straight line, and you just have to execute, right? Yeah, but again, you always hear the athletes say they want to always be, in the middle of the action so they can feel, all their contenders. So again, the person, that makes it out on the outside, this time around, it's not necessarily going to be a good thing for them, in my opinion. Now, how did this happen? Personally, again, I did believe that 2 athletes, 2 of the big guns would have, faced off in the semifinals. But why I believe, again, a person as it relates to Shericka Jackson in this instance would have made it into, such a semifinal with Marie-José Talou and Shakira is because of the time she ran getting into the finals. Now, Shericka's time getting in was 11.06 seconds. So one of the slowest winners, from her heat. But what's important about Shericka's heat is not just, that, her time was potentially much, much slower than, most of the other winners, but it's the wind. She ran in a negative 1.0 meters per second wind. So we know that that time could have been potentially much faster. So it's not about, quote unquote, her ease and relax or anything like that, because we all said, all of the girls look good. But clearly, because every heat is different, literally you could go from a, maximum wind, really positive, pushing you down to the track to, a really high negative wind, shoving you the other direction. So clearly, that's what happened in Shericka's, race. And as such, even though she executed a good race, even though her race was also, very easy, her time ended up being much slower because, again, of the negative wind. And as such, in my opinion, she got flung in with 2 of the other big guns. And in this situation, again, Marie-José Talou and Shakira Richardson. So personally, yes, it is the definite, race of death. And personally, I believe that these girls will have to run. No questions about it. But this is where now I believe that the girls, were sabotaged. Now, yesterday when I was, watching the men's 100 meters, semi-final and final, and I saw the time frame between each race, I was like, okay, cool. Thinking back to, the women's race in the back of my mind, I'm like, at least the women, will have similar time to rest up, before they head into the final. So we're going to get a burnout in the semi, right? Which is a potential final. Personally, in my opinion, that's a potential final, right? But at least they'll have a little bit more time to recover, thankfully. However, one of my trackies, pointed it out to me, and I have to thank him, said, why is nobody talking about the time, the women are given versus the men? And I'm like, what are you talking about? So, I quickly go over and I check, and the time is ridiculous. So yesterday, trackies, the men were given literally 2 hours and 35 minutes to recover. between semi-final and final. They were given 2 hours and 35 minutes. So personally, I thought the women would be given the same. So as you remember, Jamaican time now, that's what I'm quoting. So the semi-final was 9:35 a.m. and the final was 12:10 p.m. So that's what we saw for the men yesterday. And again, in the back of my mind, the women would be getting something similar. Right? So I didn't even think about times, look at times, nothing. So if this tracker didn't point it out to me, I wouldn't have even noticed. Right? Now, moving on to the women. Our women only get, wait for it, 1 hour and 15 minutes. Yes, I did not stutter. They only get 1 hour and 15 minutes. Track this is ridiculous. So again, Jamaica time, this semi-final is slated to go off at 1:35 p.m. and the finals is slated to go off at 2:50 p.m. Now, track maybe I can't do math, but you all can do the math for me because when I check it, that is 1 hour and 15 minutes. Now, track this is ridiculous. Again, we are looking at a semi-final between Shericka Jackson, Shakira Richardson, and Marie Jose Talou. That is literally a potential final. How these girls are going to have to run, it's literally, they're going to have to literally mirror what they would be doing in a finals just to ensure that they make it through in the correct, slot. Whether, because again, these athletes want to finish between first and second to ensure that they get one of the good seeded middle lanes, right? So to ensure that you get one of the good seeded middle lanes, you're going to run. And a three of them in the race, and the three of them good. Three of them are very, very good. We're talking, differences between hundreds of a second. Very, very, very close. So again, track this to me is very ridiculous and unfair to our women, and I'm just trying to figure out who came up with this structure in the first place, because when I look at the proceedings yesterday for the men, the semifinal was the first thing on the cards for the evening session. So my assumption was for the women, it would be the same thing heading into the afternoon session. They'll start things off with the semifinal for the women and then continue throughout and then make that the final event for the day. No, no, no. That's not what we are seeing here. Now, clearly there are, more events on show here for the third day. So even so, though, I believe that they could have pushed it back. We have the 400-meter hurdles, the men's 110-meter hurdles semifinal. These events could have been pushed back. So for the events that had the semifinal, they could have been pushed back to, an earlier time, and then the hurdles, push run after that. So anyway, trackies, to me, this is completely ridiculous, completely unfair to our women, and I know for a fact that we're gonna have some potential. You know what? Let me just wish them all the best. I'm wishing our women all the best because they're clearly going to be up against it. And I'm being specific to the three women that were literally going to have to run their hardest just to make it in, to the finals and of course secure one of those middle lanes. That's what is important here. So because of that, they're going to be running. So I'm just wishing them all the best. Right about now, I'm not even going to try to jinx them. I'm just praying that their legs can hold up, they get quick recovery and come back for an hour after an hour and 15 minutes, and they're still able to put on, a good show in the finals, because potentially this is not necessarily looking good for them. But you know what? It is what it is. This is the cards that they've been dealt. I believe it was unfair cards, but I'm still wishing them all the best, and I'm hoping that, they do get, to conserve some kind of strength, in the semifinals. So as much as things are looking right now, maybe there's a way for all three of them to run and try to make it into top two while still conserving energy, right? That's what I'm hoping for at this point. But anyway, Tracky, sound off in the comment section and let me know your thoughts. Do you think our women were, dealt an unfair card, only getting 1 hour and 15 minutes while our men got 2 hours and 35 minutes? This is ridiculous. This is the most ridiculous thing I've seen. I can't believe this. Usually things should be even across the board. I can't believe our women have to really face this. You understand? Maybe I wouldn't be complaining. As a matter of fact, I would be complaining, because if they only got an hour and 15 minutes, the men, I would be saying, what kind of ridiculous turnaround time is this? You know what I mean? But it's clearly, not good. It's getting shorter and shorter. One time it used to be, 2 hours, and we saw like an hour and 45, maybe an hour and a half. Now we're down to an hour and 15 minutes for the woman. No, this is crazy. Anyway, trackies, sound off in the comment section below and let me know your thoughts. What do you think about this? Like the video and subscribe. I'll catch you in the next one. Bye.